to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long range three.
Beautiful morning. Get a
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 54 of CO Sports Talk. NFL season's finally over for you non-NFL watchers. And this is your episode right here and going forward until the season is back. So today we'll talk a little bit about the NBA, or a lot about the NBA, and college hoops and college baseball. So yeah, Casey's in Jamaica. He's in a whole different country, but we're still delivering on President's Day. So don't doubt it. We got a good one in store for today. So let's get into it. So we're coming off of the NBA All-Star weekend. Great weekend of All-Star festivities. Always a really fun weekend, really fun time for all the players, getting recognized for their great play in the first half. So let's quickly start off by recapping All-Star Saturday night. We had the skills competition, new format, the three-point contest, and the dunk contest. I mean, first of all, I really liked this new format in the skills competition. I thought this was really entertaining.
Only thing I'll push back on is it was a little long.
That's true.
I don't know. It took a while, and I was a little confused as watching without paying too much attention to the commentators. So first this was like an old thing back like 5 years ago, that shooting challenge thing. And then we had the passing, and then the dribbling, and then there was like a half court challenge thing. So I didn't know how it really evened out at the end of the day, but the Cavs definitely were the best team. The Antetokounmpo's brothers, besides Giannis, who's not even really good at shooting, they all suck. And then,
yeah, low key that team was the worst because the
meta at the shooting one was, since all you had to do is three, so if you miss your first one, literally just throw it on the ground as quick as possible. No one had that quick IQ to realize that, but that's what I would have done because it's quicker though.
Wait, to do what?
On the shooting one, what is a windmill in front of you?
Oh yeah.
If you miss, the max you can miss is three. So just miss one, miss the next two really fast.
Miss them quicker, yeah.
Just chuck them on the ground.
That's true. That would be smart. Yeah, so Team Cavs won that. Team Rookies won the relay one, but then they lost half court because Evan Mobley hit a half court in 5 seconds on his first shot. And then after that was the 3-point contest. Always fun to watch. So satisfying to watch just some of the best shooters in the game go at it. I picked Patty Mills in this. But the big man, Karl Anthony Towns, who had all the odds stacked against him, he was the least likely to win according to Vegas. And, he came out there on top and repped the big man and showed that he's the best big man shooter of all time.
Yeah, it was awesome. And these are all about stamina. I feel like, a lot of people run out of gas. They don't pace themselves right. They too much time remaining, or they run out. And Catch did a good job pacing themselves. Luke Kennard and Trae Young were the other finalists. I thought Levine was going to do it. He was bad. I think he needs to stick to the dunk contest.
Mm-hmm.
And Patty Mills almost advanced.
Yeah.
Who else was kind of disappointing? McCollum was a little disappointing.
Dane was all right, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That one is probably the best event of the night. And then I don't even know if I want to talk about the next event. My goodness, that was the worst event ever.
Yeah, I only watched the first round, but because I had a high school basketball game. But yeah, I'm apparently it's the worst dunk contest of all time. I thought Juan Toscano Anderson did pretty good. The Mexican flag Warriors jersey, if he released that would get that all the Mexican American or Mexican Warriors fans, they would buy that in an instant. So I think that would be smart for them to release it, but that's a sick jersey.
I didn't know that wasn't released. Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, he said it's one of one. There's only one in the world. And so yeah, but Obi Toppin ended up winning it. He probably is the best dunker out of those four, so it's deserving, but there's better dunks in the actual All-Star game than there was the dunk contest, it seems.
Just the guys that are in it are all nobodies. Just with all due respect to all four of them, they're all nobodies, and it's just not fun to watch scrubs attempting dunks without props. It's all just the same dunks over and over, like a 360 man. Throwback to when Blake Griffin jumped over a car, man. Why can't we just do that?
Yeah, facts. I mean, I wouldn't call them nobodies. I mean, you got the 8th pick in the draft and Obi Toppin a few years ago. Last year's 2nd pick in the draft, and then we got Cole Anthony, who's doing well. I mean, the biggest nobody there is JTA, but JTA
Yeah,
is the
but
GOAT.
it shouldn't be a rising star challenge. I mean, I want stars in it.
That's
Like
true.
Levine, Antetokounmpo, Mason Plumlee,
But think about it, like even when
Pat
Levine and
Connaughton.
Aaron Gordon were, they were like 2nd-year players at the time, so they were considered no.
Yeah, no, that is true. So, but I feel like they had more hype. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as in the NBA anymore. But like I don't know. Just give me Jaylen Brown.
No,
Give me Zion Williamson. Give me
I
John
need
Morant. Like John Morant's a second
yeah.
year.
I was about to
30
say I need John Morant in that immediately because you could see his hops on display.
John Morant's too Hollywood for it. I feel like John Morant's too Hollywood for it. Like,
Yeah, but you saw his 360 alley-oop dunk. That was insane in the All-Star
yeah,
game.
he's ridiculous.
And yeah, going on to that, the All-Star game, entertaining as usual. This new format creates really like close and entertaining games with I love the target score at the end, so no clock.
Yeah.
They just played to the winning team's total score plus 24 for Kobe. And yeah, it ended up being 163 and LeBron hit a game winner. But the story of the night was Stephen Curry, 16 threes. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt. There's no defense, or limited defense, but still insane. 50 bomb for him. And yeah, I mean, Steph Curry was just magnificent.
It was awesome to watch. 16 threes. I believe he had 50 points. So therefore, only 2 points that he had weren't threes. 16 times 3 is 48. So that's pretty impressive. But I mean, yeah, Curry just kept draining them. And the crazy thing is he didn't even hit that many in the 4th quarter. So he would have hit more if his 4th quarter he was on hot then.
Yeah, he kind of went cold, but I mean, maybe that will kind of stain the night, but I think his night was good enough for people to forget that.
Definitely.
So, I mean,
I was rooting for Team Braun too. I don't know.
Yeah, I was kind of rooting for Braun too, but I mean, because I like Steph, obviously, but I mean, I was kind of rooting for Wiggins. Wiggins did pretty good. He shot 4 for 7, 10 points. He did pretty good in his All-Star game debut. Those were the 2 Warriors because Draymond Green did not participate. Yeah, it was really fun. I think it's funny how some people like take it so lightly, and then some people went really try hard. Like I thought Devin Booker went really try hard. DeJounte Murray went really try hard. And then Giannis, per usual, went really try hard. So
DeJounte Murray was in the All-Star game.
yeah, DeJounte Murray was balling, bro. DeJounte Murray averages 20 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, and 9 assists a game. That's almost a triple double.
Hello ball. I mean, come on, you were just a freshman at Chino Hills shooting the half quarter. I swear to God, that was like 2 years ago. You were a freshman in high school. How's that guy in the NBA All-Star game already? It's wild, man. Good for him though. Already in the NBA All-Star game. Definitely better than his brothers.
Yeah, LeVar Ball's method paid off, man. Yeah, two sons in the NBA and the other one in the G League. So
and now he's all calm and he's not as involved.
Yeah, you don't even hear him anymore. But yeah, he was a big thing for a while, but it worked.
Yeah, all serious. Good for them. I mean, I still think Jaylen Brown deserved to make it, but it's wild how the NBA has changed. I will say that because like the players change quick, but the one thing that stays constant is LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. They're always in it. I mean,
yeah,
I think
there's like the starters. I feel like kind of stay the same, but then like the bottom of the reserves kind of always switch. Like you had like Nikola Vucevic a few years ago. You had
we seen some Dragic of Goran.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, that's crazy. He just signed with the Nets, by the way, this morning. So Nets get another kind of washed all-star to add to their, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin collection. So yeah, I mean, good signing for the Nets. And moving on to that, we had a few big deals in the NBA trade deadline we forgot to address. The biggest being James Harden traded to the Sixers, and we talked a little bit about this with Rick Bucher, but we can give a little bit of our own insight on this. By the way, if you haven't checked out that Rick Bucher interview, I highly recommend. You learn a lot from that. But I mean, both sides, I think, can benefit from this trade. The Nets get kind of a fresh start. They get Ben Simmons, young, defensive-minded player. But I just don't know how he's going to work alongside Katie and Kyrie, but we'll see. And then they get Seth Curry, which is good shooting. Him and Joe Harris can be like two of the best shooting players in the league playing aside each other. And then Andre Drummond, they get a big. So, but then obviously, the Sixers get a top 10 player in James Harden in return. So, I mean, how do you feel about this trade in general, and who do you think won this?
I think that 100% the Nets won it. Although they got rid of James Harden, who's been a solid player for them, and 4 years ago, was the best player in the NBA. I just think that they won it because what they got in return was worth it. I mean, Ben Simmons said it time after time is the best player in the NBA if there's no basket. So he's a great player, great rebounder, great passer.
Great defender.
Can make a layup once every blue moon. So good for Ben. He can be good. And the Sixers got rid of a lot in order just to gain Harden, who's solid, but I don't know, can be maybe a little bit of a diva in the locker room. We don't really know. And yeah, I mean, and also Embiid's touches. I mean, it was working in Philadelphia somewhat. I mean, Embiid's averaging the most points in the NBA right now. So Embiid kind of has a little bit of a big personality. James has a big personality. He's more quiet, but he has a big personality as well. So I don't know how those two will work together.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously you have to create less shots for the MVP frontrunner and Joel Embiid. And yeah, I feel like you're taking a risk with Harden. You never know. I mean, you thought you freed him from Houston, and then a year later he wants out of Brooklyn. So you never know what he's going to think of the situation. Because as Rick Bucher was saying, he was telling the front office in Brooklyn that he was fine with the situation, and then the next thing you know, he wants out. So it's a bit of a risk, but obviously the huge upside. I mean, you're getting a great player in James Harden, a dude who's been there before, and you can
experience. True.
Yeah, experience, and I mean a tandem with him and Joel Embiid is crazy good. So
yeah, but the Nets aren't losing that much experience because they still have KD and Kyrie when he's on the road, and if they change that rule,
KD and Kyrie is definitely enough. And then you get a guy like Ben Simmons, who's been a 3-time All-Star. So it's dudes like that, and you have great shooting, and now you added size with Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond's a very limited player, but at the very least, he can grab rebounds and he can play. Can intimidate the other team's big. So, I think it's an interesting trade, but the most mind-boggling trade for me was the Kings trading Tyrese Halliburton, a young guard, who's averaging double-digit assists on 40% shooting from three, and that's something you don't see very often, especially from a young guy. And they spent the 12th pick on him in 2020, and they trade him for a guy, Domantas Sabonis, and I feel like people think Domantas Sabonis is some old guy. He's only 25. However, it just doesn't fit the mold that I thought the Sacramento Kings were trying to build around. Young backcourt and De'Aaron Fox and Halliburton, and then have a guy like Davion Mitchell off the bench. Great. He was great at Baylor, and he's been great so far in the league. So I thought that was going to be the mold they kind of fit around. But, I mean, they did have a little bit of a surplus of guards, and we touched on this around the draft. They had Buddy Hield, Davion Mitchell, Halliburton, Fox. So they unloaded two of those in Hield and Halliburton, sent them to Indiana. And then they get Domantas Sabonis in return. Domantas Sabonis, to be fair, has been great in, I think, the 2 games he's played for Sacramento so far. But
yeah,
it's an interesting trade. I think
well, I'm a Kings fan, so personally, I didn't hate this trade as much as some people made it out to be. Domantas Sabonis is an amazing player. Like, I mean, come on now, early 2015 at Gonzaga, that guy was another human. I mean, that guy was ridiculous. Great player for the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers should be sad he's gone. They should be bound about this trade themselves almost, because the Pacers right now are doing all right. I mean, they're not all, actually they're doing pretty bad. 20-40 record, 13th in the East. However, I mean, Sabonis has done a lot for them, so they should thank him, But the Kings, this trade would be amazing if they were in the playoffs. Like if they're even in the top 10, top 12, this trade is worth it. However, Sacramento Kings just can't seem to win. This is like a win now trade, not for the future trade. And they traded away their best future player. So it's a little bit mind-boggling, 22-38. But I just do think Sacramento needs some sort of change. It seems like no matter what happens there, they can't find a way to win. All we do is just lose. I don't know. We need a rebrand or something. We literally are at this amazing Golden One center, and nothing seems to happen. So yeah, I mean, it pains me really. We had Buddy Hield at one point. We had Marvin Bagley with the number 2 pick. Seems to not really done anything.
Yeah, Marvin. I was
And
about to say they finally gave up on Marvin Bagley, sending him to the Pistons.
yeah,
And so the Marvin Bagley era is finally done because he just didn't produce well in Sacramento. So hopefully the Pistons, can kind of turn his career around, add him to that young core they have with Kate Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, etc., Isaiah Stewart. But yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting trades. I mean, a few other
3 really good players too, and De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and people forget Harrison Barnes is averaging 17 this year. So
yeah, Harrison Barnes is good. And
it
then
should be
obviously
better.
that puts Davion Mitchell in a starting role. So good for him. Nicknamed Off Night. I think that's one of the coldest nicknames in the NBA because it means given whoever you put them on, they're gonna have an off night. And some other big trades went down were Kristaps Porzingis going to Washington. That didn't really make any sense for the Mavs. Losing. They lost Porzingis and they bring in Dinwiddie. It's just they get worse. I don't really understand that. If you're trying to make a run with Luka, and then another move I liked was Montrezl Harrell going to Charlotte because they needed a big man. But yeah, it was a good trade deadline. A lot of interesting moves, a lot of good moves. I think the Pacers come out here big winners because they finally, it seemed like they were just like they were set on this core and they had a decent core, but they obviously wasn't doing much. So they finally hit that reset button, traded Sabonis, got younger in Halliburton, promising young star. And they kept Miles Turner. So yeah, so I think it's gonna be a very interesting to see what happens with the Pacers going forward. But a very good trade deadline per usual. I mean, the trade deadline is always a fun time in any sport, but especially in the NBA. So yeah, we had finally a nice detailed segment about the NBA now that the NFL's over. So now let's move on to college hoops.
College basketball is finally, it feels like it's really here. Everyone's paying attention. We had a really solid weekend because it's the first weekend we haven't had football since August. So college basketball was fully being focused on, I believe in 3 weeks we'll be at Selection Sunday, maybe a month. So we obviously had a big thing go on yesterday with Michigan and Wisconsin. However, before we touch on that, Gonzaga is going to stay at 1 after beating Santa Clara only by 10. Shout out the Broncos. Arizona stays really solid. Shout out my uncle, big fan. They're 24-2. They beat the Ducks at home, a little close, but they didn't. And then Auburn fell to Florida. Other good teams, Purdue, Kansas won. Kentucky, they beat Bama. Duke staying solid. Villanova, Texas Tech, and then Baylor. They had a good one versus TCU. I think they're pretty underrated.
Shut up, Providence.
Oliver. So who of those 10 teams? Yes, Providence is looking really good, man. 22-3. But Oliver, who of those 10 teams do you think is like the biggest national championship front runner right now?
If you asked me a week ago, I would have said Auburn. But now they've had 2 SEC losses in Arkansas and Florida away. I mean,
They're young too.
Yeah, they're young. I mean, led by Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler. 2 guys who are going to go first round. Jabari Smith potentially number 1. And I think the safe pick has got to be Gonzaga still. I mean, Gonzaga, they're always, around that the top 5 range, and they don't seem to always live up to it in the tournament, but the talent is undeniable with, led by Drew Timme, Andrew Nembhard. It's a great team. So I think I'm going to have to go with Gonzaga at the moment, but don't sleep on the Pac-12, man. I think Arizona can make a run. Even USC can make a run. So I think, there's a lot of good teams. I don't sleep on Texas Tech too. Texas Tech is crazy.
Amazing atmosphere.
Yeah.
Best crowd in college basketball.
Yeah, it's facts. And, I think even Providence can make a little run. So a lot of great teams. This is setting up to be a great March Madness. But yeah, I think at the moment my favorite would be Gonzaga.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree with you. I hate to be chalk, but just Chet Holmgren being a freshman, so they have that one freshman star along with the Drew Timmy senior leadership. I mean, he may not be a senior, but upperclassman leadership.
Yes.
It makes them the front runner. However, I'm never gonna pick a team that's led by a freshman to win a national championship just because they don't have experience. We saw probably the best talent-wise team ever make the Elite Eight with Zion, Cam Reddish, and RJ Barrett. They couldn't win because they just didn't have the, I mean, I think like Jack White was their upperclassman leadership or whatever. I mean, they just didn't have it. So, I mean, that team didn't win, and it shows. For instance, Arizona, I really like this team, except their best two players are freshmen, and two
No,
B-list and Benedict. So
Benedict's sophomore though.
Benedict Mathurin says he has freshman eligibility wise. No. It
For
says what's his name's a sophomore. Cologo. Well, either way, young team. But yeah, I mean, I could also see Baylor running the back. That team still has one of the mullet man. They're looking really good right now. And don't count out Illinois and UCLA. We saw them in the Final Four. They still have two of those guys,
Yeah.
Juzang
I
and
forgot to mention
Tyler
UCLA.
Campbell.
Yeah, I forgot to mention UCLA when I was talking about the Pac-12. Again, I was about to say, don't sleep on Illinois. I mean, Kofi Cockburn is arguably the best player in college basketball. He's one of those guys like Luka Garza and Drew Timmy who aren't probably going to get drafted because their games don't really translate. But at the college basketball level, he's outstanding. So that's a really good team. Don't sleep on teams like Indiana led by Trace Jackson Davis. Teams like that, really talented teams and kind of flying under the radar here. So yeah, I think there's a lot of teams who can make runs here, including UConn too. UConn is looking good. So yeah, a lot of good teams.
And then you can see the clip right now, view.
As the two of them continue to have words, we told you Juwan Howard was not happy about that timeout. And Juwan Howard just threw a right hand. And now we got a scrum. We have a scrum in Madison.
But Juwan Howard, Oliver, whose side are you? I mean, obviously, I don't know. I've been in situations where, you're kind of angry. So he's forced himself to walk in the line. And then the other person's kind of being passive aggressive. So they grab your hand and like force them to shake your hand. And obviously probably wasn't justified what he did. However, I mean, I don't think he should be fired or anything. Maybe suspended a game or two, but nothing too serious in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything too serious. After a double-digit loss like that, emotions are running high. So I understand. I'd have to do a little more research on the situation, but yeah, I wouldn't say too big of a penalty is justified here.
Yeah.
So,
all right. There's your college basketball talk, folks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, college baseball just started. And normally we really wouldn't talk about college baseball until the College World Series. Sorry, there's some people out here loud. But we're going to talk about it due to the fact that the MLB is looking like it's going to be delayed at the least. So for now, our baseball sources has to be college baseball. And number one in the country preseason rankings, because this weekend was opening weekend, was Texas, and they went 3-0. So I'd say that was pretty good ranking. Then it was Arkansas, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Vandy, Stanford at 6, NC State, who got screwed at 9. Oliver, who was your preseason, winner? I mean, personally, the Stanford team looks solid.
Yeah, led by Brock Jones. He's going to go top 10 in this upcoming draft. Stanford's always going to be solid at baseball. Texas looks good, and they have a bright future as well. So I really like this Texas team. Arkansas, coming off, last year was ranked number 1, and, they're looking to build off that. And I hope NC State is able to bounce back after they were screwed by NCAA. But
yeah,
I mean, it's just interesting to see how, East Carolina, they were ranked 12, and they fell to 25 after going 0-3. So hopefully they can bounce back. But, just it's interesting to see the teams and how they differ from, basketball and football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Stanford's solid, but then they fell 11-0 to Fullerton, so I don't know if they're legit or not. But a team that I think normally you'd say I'm being biased, but actually is 100% legit is the California Golden Bears. This weekend they played a tournament in Arizona and went 4-0, won every single game they played versus 4 different teams. And it was Houston, solid win, San Diego State, solid, Gonzaga, and TCU, they beat number 18 in the country, 17 in the country. So big wins for the Bears. I think you'll definitely have to rank them after beating 4 D1 teams like that.
Yeah, I think that's a legit take. I don't think that's biased at all. I think the Golden Bears are looking good, and the Pac-12 is looking good. I think you can put Arizona up there too. So, their whole conference is looking good. Stanford, Oregon State. So, yeah, but obviously the SEC is continuing to dominate. But especially in baseball, and Vandy being up there, 4 of the top 5 are from the SEC. So Vandy's best sport, and the Vandy boys are looking to get back to their dominance. So I like Vandy honestly this year. I'll go 1-2 right now.
And we saw Mississippi State win this year. They're not ranked as high, but
Yeah.
and I mean, there's really nothing like college baseball atmosphere wise. Especially when it comes to the regionals right before you go to Omaha, unreal because it gets super hot. When someone hits a bomb, especially in those southern schools, the amount of beer that they throw up in the stands is unreal. And so there's a very unique vibe, especially like at Ole Miss, Mississippi State. They're very into it. It's kind of a shame, honestly, because we live next to Stanford, not to give away too much of our location. However, we live next to Stanford and they're like number 6 in the country and no one even seems to go to the games, but maybe that will change.
And I think that's the Sunken Diamond gets pretty good attendance.
It gets good, but it's not like the Ole Miss where there's beer showers.
But but the seating is not as big. So,
but there's also stuff to do in Palo Alto.
that's
So.
true.
Oxford, Mississippi, can't say the same.
Oxford, yeah, that's true. You have to have professional sports teams around here. So, yeah, interesting to see. It's just the beginning of the season. We're 1 weekend in, but if the MLB lockout continues, then we'll cover more college baseball. So, and maybe some high school baseball because my school, Palo Alto High School, is looking really good. Facts.
Before we wrap it up, we got paying homage to the Winter Olympics that just ended in Beijing. I'm currently in the country, of the team Jamaica. We talked about them. I remember in our pregame. Fortunately, they got last place in like all the events they were in. However, just being in the Olympics is pretty impressive for them, as there's no snow here, and it's February. It's 80 degrees, so it's pretty cool. Good for them. Make it. Shaun White, he got 4th. That's a W because he was in his 30s.
Yeah.
Chloe Kim, she won. Shout out her. Nathan Chen, ice skater or figure skater. And then lastly, Michaela Schifrin had a really tough Winter Olympics, didn't medal in any of her 5 events.
Yeah. So, Michaela Schifrin was a bit of a letdown. I feel bad for her. Obviously, underperforming Olympics is really just a sad story because you spend so much time training. But yeah, good farewell tour from Shaun White. Chloe Kim continues to dominate in snowboarding. But yeah, I mean, I didn't really watch this Olympics, and a lot of people can say the same because there's so much politics around it. No countries really want to host the Olympics anymore because it's damaging to their country. Brings more bad than good. And
yeah,
it's just the Olympics are in a weird place, especially the Winter Olympics. But World Cup's right on the corner. I'm super hyped.
Exactly. So World Cup would be this summer. We would already know the group stage. We'd probably be breaking that down every episode. But since it's in Qatar where it's super hot, it's going to be in, I think, next winter.
Really?
We'll get the group. Well, we're still qualifying, but once everyone qualifies, we'll get the groups.
Are they actually going to delay it? Are they going to delay it because of the weather?
Yeah, no, it's in November. It starts in November.
Jeez, bro. Why shouldn't be in Qatar? This whole stuff is also weird, bro.
Do it in America.
Do it somewhere normal. All right, whatever. But that'll do it for episode 54 of Serious Sports Talk. Sorry for the late episode, but Casey's in another country. It's President's Day. A lot of things going on. So
Yeah, man. We're doing this from Jamaica.
I think it was a good episode. I thought it was a good episode. We detailed the NBA, college hoops, and college baseball. So no NFL for a change, but I mean we're CO Sports Talk, not CO Football Talk. So we're here to give you everything.
And shout out to my high school, Sagart Prep Central Coast section. They're playing the Open Division basketball boys game tonight for St. Francis. They already beat Bellarmine. So if they keep it up, they'll be playing you, Bronny James from Sierra Canyon in the King Stadium.
Facts. Yeah, go SHP, man. Hopefully they play Sierra Canyon, and then shout out my high school Pally girls. We're rooting for you. All right, peace out.